The struggle for justice persists among Native peoples in the United States. Although there have been some significant victories, such as the Washington NFL team dropping its racist name and logo, as well as a landmark Supreme Court win in McGirt v. Oklahoma, the challenging task of acknowledging and rectifying the historical oppression of the country's indigenous inhabitants continues. Promoting the observance of Indigenous Peoples Day as an alternative to Columbus Day is an essential aspect of these efforts, led by Native and allied activists. This day provides an opportunity not only to celebrate Native voices and culture but also for the nation to reconsider its own history in light of the experiences of Indigenous Americans. While it is crucial to reflect on the brutal treatment Native peoples have endured throughout American history, Indigenous Peoples Day also allows for an examination of lesser-known legacies of this brutality beyond the borders of the United States. One of the most disturbing legacies to consider is the influence of U.S. actions toward Native Americans on Adolf Hitler and his regime's genocidal campaign in Eastern Europe during World War II. This connection has been explored by recent historians of Nazi Germany and extensively documented in Carol Cockle's book The American West and the Nazi East. For a related account on how American immigration, segregation, and eugenics policies influenced the Nazis, see James Whitman's fascinating work Hitler's American Model. Hitler's primary strategic objective in initiating World War II was to expand Germany's borders eastward and establish a German empire encompassing most of Europe. This pursuit of Lebensraum, or living space, in the east consumed his attention. He envisioned a vast empire where German farmers would replace the original inhabitants of regions like the Baltics, Poland, Ukraine, Belarus, and Russia. These indigenous populations would gradually be displaced and the land utilized to sustain Germany as a dominant continental power. World War II, therefore, became primarily a war of colonial expansion. At a time when European countries still held significant territories worldwide, justifying their rule through claims of racial superiority and employing brutal methods to exploit resources and suppress dissent, Hitler found numerous models for inspiration. For instance, Belgium's rule over Congo resulted in an estimated 10 million deaths due to violence and forced labor over 4 decades. However, Hitler's focus was not on overseas colonies, which Germany had not acquired to the same extent as other powers. Instead, his attention turned to establishing a contiguous land-based empire directly connected to the German homeland. As Hitler himself stated, "Our colonial territory is in the east." His vision aligned with what historians term settler colonialism, wherein the original inhabitants of an area are exploited temporarily but ultimately replaced by settlers from the imperial power. This form of colonialism is inherently eliminationist in nature, as Native peoples, considered racially inferior, are deemed expendable and are made to disappear to clear the land for the colonizers. This is why the United States served as Hitler's primary inspiration, described by Holocaust historian Timothy Snyder as the exemplary land empire on which the Nazis based their vision for colonizing Eastern Europe. What did Hitler see when he looked to America for inspiration? After pioneering settler colonialism in Ireland, the British brought this model to North America, resulting in the displacement of indigenous populations. These same colonizers used westward expansion as a primary justification for the Revolutionary War against Britain, specifically mentioning it in the Declaration of Independence. In fact, one of the largest military operations during the war was the Continental Army's attack on the Iroquois Confederation. Following George Washington's orders to totally destroy and devastate their settlements to drive them out through terror, the American military established a pattern for the next century, forcibly removing Native people from their homeland through indiscriminate violence. Subscribe for more news from Interesting AF.